episode of the Parker's Podcast. I'm Francel Parker. This is Rosemary Parker. And our podcast is just about who we are, what we're about, our 20 years of marriage, 10 years in business, how we've gotten into ministry, and just a day in the life of the Parkers. We're just going to give you a bird's eye view or a glimpse into that. You're not going to say anything to anybody? At some point, you got to say something. It's the Parkers. It's not the Francel show.
It's a Francel show at the moment. Go ahead.
Well, how did we meet?
I can't do this.
Yes, you. What's wrong with that? You can do this?
No.
So how we met is a really, really funny story. Like, our origin story is absolutely hilarious. So we met my freshman year, your 8th grade year. It was in youth group in Akron, Ohio. And what's funny is in that youth group, I was dating her best friend's sister. And I hooked her up with my buddy Mike, who was like my best friend at the time. And it was just absolutely hilarious because even though my relationship fell off with her best friend's sister and her relationship fell off with my buddy Mike, there was like a 2-year gap before we actually started dating. Might have been 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And one day, my buddy Mike couldn't stay at his parents' house, so he moved in with me and my parents. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And he asked, he was like, "Do you have Rose's phone number?" And I was a little bit of a playboy back in the day, and I had this entertainment system that was made out of like drywall, partially finished. And I had hundreds of girls' phone numbers written all over this thing. And I go to my buddy Mike, and I'm like, "Yeah, her number's down on the wall somewhere." And we go down there, and I find your phone number, and Mike calls you. I don't really know the backside of that aspect, but what happened when he calls you?
Well, we were out of town at the time. Me and my friend, my other friend Jen, we were out of town in Tennessee. And I told him that when we came home, that we would reconnect or whatever. And so when I got home, I tried calling back to your house because that's where he called from. And he wasn't there, so I got in touch with you. And so I was like, well, whatever, Mike's not there, then you come over and we'll hang out.
And from my perspective, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going down. So naturally.
That was not my perspective.
Hey, your perspective, you didn't have much of a choice of what was about to take place. I get dressed, and this is, what year is this, 1999?
No, this is 2002? 2003.
No, it's not 2003.
It had to have been.
Maybe 2003. So I have my all-black Guess jean outfit on with my Coogee sweater and my Guess sunglasses, and you came over to the house.
Mind you, it's nighttime.
What time was it? Around like 9 o'clock?
I don't remember.
Probably around, no, it had to have been earlier than that. It had to have been like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
It was dusk or dark.
It was
and
dark,
you had
but
sunglasses
it was
on.
wintertime though, because it was wintertime. That's why I could say that it was like 7:30 because it gets dark earlier. And I had my sunglasses on just to complete the outfit. You know, I had to have the swag right. You know, just like any good hunter wants the camo on to be able to pounce on the prey. And she didn't even know that she was prey. But man, when she pulled up in that Astro van and I stepped foot out of the house and I strutted down the driveway, whoo, buddy, she had no idea what was coming.
Nope.
And that's when I put the game on her. It was a good game, wasn't it?
No, you thought you had game. You had no game.
So we get in the van, and all of a sudden she's talking to her friend Jen, like, "We don't even have any snacks at the house." And I'm like, "It's okay, let's just go to the gas station." So we go to the gas station around the corner from their apartment. Because Rose, you graduated how many years early?
2.
2 years early. So you were 18 at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And you had your own apartment. So her friend Jen came and picked me up from my parents' house. And so we go to the gas station.
And I went through the whole gas station and got a ton of snacks. Popsicles, beef jerky, I don't even remember everything. Chips, everything.
What is it? Sour cream and cheddar potato chips was the fire back then. Yeah, Pepsi.
Yep.
So they grab all these snacks. And I'm working this little job sorting mail. And I had just got my paycheck. So I'm really balling at this moment, you know? So she goes to the counter and she puts all their snacks up there, and her friend puts all her snacks up there. I'm like, you guys go ahead, go to the van. I got this. And I pull out my knot and I just start thumbing through it while I'm looking at her. And she's looking at my cash like, okay.
That's not what I was thinking.
Oh, what were you thinking?
You're ridiculous.
What were you thinking?
I don't remember. I just know that I was catching on to the intentions. Let me just put it to you that way.
Oh, man, it was a good time. So I pay for all the snacks, hop in the van, go back to her apartment. And I'm thinking to myself, man, how in the world do I get her friend to disappear? And when we got to the apartment, it was like, poof, her friend was no longer around. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what happened or how that happened, but all of a sudden,
she went back in her room.
She was just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's just me and Rose by ourselves catching up over the 2 to 3 years that we hadn't been in contact. You know, what have you been doing? What have you been doing? Oh, you know, playing football. I wrestled a little bit. Why don't you let me show you some of my wrestling moves?
Because he was still in high school.
Yep, I was still. Hey, it was my senior year. My senior year. I don't care. But got her on the floor, wrestled around. She got sweaty, hot. I got sweaty, hot. I'm like, yes. And then all of a sudden,
he remembers that we bought the popsicles.
You remembered the popsicles.
You're right. I remember. And so I went and I asked him, did he want a popsicle? So I go in the freezer and I give him the popsicle.
And man,
and I sit down on the couch and I'm just eating my popsicle. I'm not thinking anything of it because my mind is still not where his mind is.
We're just friends.
Yes.
That's all this is going to be.
Because if you remember, I was supposed to be talking to Mike, not you.
Yeah, Mike didn't show up. I did. And man, was I a wolf. I was a wolf.
So he whips out the popsicle and he puts it on my neck and slides it down my neck and just licks up my neck. Mind you, I haven't seen him in 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, man. And the shiver. I was like, it's
a wrap. It was not like that.
The game's over.
Like oh my
the
gosh.
game's over. I was like, hook, line, and sinker. This is a done deal. Was it a done deal?
Not at that point.
Oh, come on. You got to give me some credit.
Not at that point. Not at that point.
You got to admit, that was a good move. Can you please give me credit for that one?
I mean, I guess it was a good move.
Hey, look, that says a lot coming from you. Thank you. Thank you for...
Well, I didn't... When you asked me out, I still said no.
Yes. Didn't matter. I already knew what it was going to be.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, we're dating now, 2 weeks after that? Mm-hmm. We start dating. And she hits me with, well, I can't have a boyfriend that has a 10 o'clock curfew.
Oh, yes. Because he was 19, living at home with his parents. And now that I have a 19-year-old, I understand. And I probably would be similar thinking that what his parents were thinking. But at the time, I wasn't thinking that. He was 19, had a 10 o'clock curfew. I worked a third shift job, so my nights were beginning, or my day was beginning when his night was beginning. And so I told him this wasn't going to work out if we never had any time to spend together. And so
I said, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, well,
I'm living with my parents.
So we decided to change that, and he moved in with me.
How did that go? It literally was.
That was the beginning of the end.
Oh man, she literally said, I can't have a boyfriend with a 10 o'clock curfew. I was like, well, I can't do anything about it. She's like, well, you can move in here. I'm like, let's go pack my stuff now. And immediately in that moment, we drove right to my parents' house. And I got trash bags and got my stuff and moved in. And my parents had no idea because they were at work.
Yeah, it was terrible.
What's funny is my buddy Mike was living with my parents.
That was so messed up.
At the same time, too. So...
Mike calls him later.
No, my mom called, remember?
Well, Mike called first, I thought.
Mike called the next day.
Oh.
My mom called saying, hey, son, just calling to remind you that you're late for curfew. And I said, that's right. I forgot to tell you. I don't live there anymore. And my mom, I love my mom because She is a phenomenal woman. And what she said next, friend, because I'm a junior, so my dad goes by friend around the family a lot. Friend, your son just said he doesn't live here anymore. And my dad said, oh, well. Okay. And it was like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? And my mom was like, well, you still going to church on Sunday. We'll be there to pick you up. And I'm like, okay, Mom, if that's what you want, fine. We'll be ready. You picking us up for church on Sunday. So I moved in, and the very next day, Mike calls me like, hey, man, where are you at? I was like, oh, yeah, I moved out. And he was like, well, this is weird. Like, how do I live at your parents' house and we friends and I don't stay here anymore? And I was like, well, you were supposed to meet up with Rose, but you weren't there when the phone call came.
Oh, yeah, because he didn't even realize you moved in with me.
You went to some other girl's house. And I was just like, he was like, oh, man, that's messed up. I'm like, sorry, bro. It's just how it happened. It's just how it happened. So, I mean, even though all that happened, me and Mike still are good friends. Mm-hmm. My kids call him Uncle Mike. And it's funny, he teases me. He's like, Le'Veon should be my son. And I'm like, bro, you don't got enough swag in your whole body. In your whole body.
To make Le'Veon.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we started dating. And that was February 28th of 2003. Sheesh.
So 20 years this year. I know.
It went by fast, though. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. It went by extremely fast.
Yeah.
Who would have thought we'd be sitting here 20 years later?
Christian.
Christian wasn't even born. What are you talking about?
True story.
Oh, no, hold on. Christian might have been 8. He might have been 8.
2003? Yeah. No.
Well, if he was 5 in 99.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
It'd be 8. Dang. That's some context where you're right there when your producer is still walking around in Pampas when you spitting game. You know what I'm saying? Like, jeez.
You are not. Oh my God.
But man, it's been a heck of a journey, and throughout it all, we've had a lot of ups and downs. And the one thing from my perspective that has stayed consistent through it all is that I have loved you, even when. Why are you laughing? Like, I'm not telling a joke. Like, literally, I wake up every morning madly in love with you until you open your mouth. And then it's debatable.
Please. I know you're not talking.
Oh, shoot. I'm like, man, I just glaze over, or I just look over at you. And I'm like, look at this beautiful woman laying here so peacefully.
You're not getting
And I go to work. Huh?
You're not getting brownie points.
I don't need 20 years in. Who needs brownie points? It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Unless I start talking like this. Look at you. See? Already shook.
I hate the voice. Just stop.
Oh, man. But seriously, like, I start my day off with prayer. And then I look at you. And I'm thankful to God for you every single day. And I start my day off. I go to work. And then the phone call starts. Did you remember this? Did you remember this? And I'm like, man, Lord, thank you that I love my wife. Thank you that I love my wife. Right?
If I didn't remind you to do everything, we'd be broke.
I don't dispute that. I don't. Like, when they say you complete me, you do complete me, honey.
Oh, gosh.
No?
This does not have to be a sap session.
It's not a sap session. It's hilarious. Mm-hmm. Because so many aspects of our life, if we did not laugh, we would cry. Is that true?
True.
True
story.
And we've laughed at some pretty jacked up stuff, but we've gotten through it. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, fast forward to 2004.
Well, you skipped some.
Oh.
Because after we started dating, only 4 months later, we got married.
4 months. We dated for 4 months.
Yep.
Because she said my game didn't work.
Apparently it did.
But she was the hottest chick I'd ever been with. I had to lock it down. Locked it down.
Yeah, your mom hated me back then.
Oh, dude, it was hilarious, though. So that Sunday, you want to talk about that Sunday dinner?
No. Oh, the dinner, that's fine.
So that Sunday, my mom comes and picks us up for church, and my wife Rose is sitting in the front seat. My mom is driving, and my mom has always had this thing for McDonald's French fries in orange iced. So before church,
and I am not a liar. I will tell anyone. I don't care how they feel. I'm gonna tell them. If they ask me a question, I'm gonna tell them the truth.
So we're riding, my mom is driving a cargo van, and I'm sitting in the back middle.
It wasn't a cargo.
Yeah, it was the back.
It was the Ford Windstar.
It was not.
It was.
You know how I know it wasn't? Because I dove over that row of seats when I thought all that stuff was going to take place.
Okay. I still think it was the Windstar.
Well, so we're in the line for my mom to get her fries and Hi-C. And my mom turns over to Rose just like this. Are you having relations with my son? And I'm like, oh, shoot.
No, she straight said, are you having sex with my son? And I thought about it for like 2 seconds. Well, if I lie and tell her no, she's going to know the truth because we're living together. But I'm not a liar. So I said, yes. What do you think we're doing?
And I jump over the back seat because I'm like, oh, crap. It's about to go down. I'm freaked out. I don't know if my mom is going to swing first.
I don't think she was prepared to have a person with as much
I was not prepared.
Personality as she has.
I wasn't prepared for anything. I was stuck. I was just scared. So I dive over the back seat like, crap. My mom and girlfriend's about to fight day one.
Well, we didn't fight. No, it just got worse. So we get back. She drills me with all these questions. I answer them truthfully. We get back to the house.
No, we go to church.
Oh, yeah, we go to church. And then after church, we come back to the house. They have a family tradition. Every Sunday after church, they have dinner, which we've actually started doing, in our house as well. Well, we've always done, I guess. And so they had dinner. And during dinner, I did not know what I was doing in my sleep, but apparently during dinner, Francel decides that he's going to tell his brother, and everybody at the table, which included mom and dad, both of his brothers, both of his grandmothers.
So we're sitting there, and I look at my brother who's sitting directly across from me. Bro, you will not believe what this chick did to me last night. And he was like, what'd she do? I was like, man, we were spooning. And all of a sudden I hear, brrr, and I'm like, what the heck? I woke up out of a deep sleep. And I mean, I sleep pretty hard, don't I? Mm-hmm. She shook me out of my sleep. And I'm waking, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, she did not just do this to me. There's no way she did this. So as I'm contemplating this, I go back into holding her, and she rips a second one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let me just flip over so I can survive the night, because it was insane. So I say this at the dinner table, and my mom literally spits the food out of her mouth and busts out laughing and crying hysterically. And I think that's what really broke the ice for you and her.
Yeah, because, she's got a house full of boys, so she understands. I was not even aware. And to this day, I don't believe that I even did that, but,
Oh, no. Yes, it happened. It's etched forever in my mind.
That could have been a dream.
If I was in a horrific accident, God forbid, and something happened to where I lost my memory, I am sure that I will forever remember that. Mm-mm. No?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a figment of your imagination. I don't do those things.
Okay. We'll that's the road you want to go down. Mm-hmm. I'll let you have that.
Okay.
So, fast forward, but a couple weeks, we had to move out. Issues happened. Something happened. We move out, and I'm homeless. You always had a place to be. People would take you in. People wouldn't take me in. Parents were pastors, so it wasn't an option for us to live together in my parents' house. So, like, I would sleep in the van outside, or I would sleep at my grandma Martin's house. Mm-hmm. Whatever it took, stay together. And the craziest part is, like, the scenario with your family when I first met your dad. that was woo.
That was bad.
Yeah, I learned real quick why R. Kelly was saying he wished he could fly.
Well, it is a little different because we are obviously different races. And I grew up in a very racial or racist family, I should say. And so being a part of that and then having my dad completely against us getting married, being in a relationship at all, when he met Francel, which he was fine if I was friends with black people. He did not care. But heaven forbid his little girl date one, because then that was, that's just off limits. It wasn't an option. And so my little sister, well, my middle sister, she would always steal my clothes because we were about the same size. And we went down to, and I didn't live at home, so there was really no reason why my dad would even be upset. But I went down to his house to get my clothes. We go in the house. My dad's not home. My mom is there. And there's two ways to get to my old bedroom. You can go through the front, down the hallway, past all the bedrooms, or you can go through the dining room behind. There was a bathroom back there that connected to my bedroom. We went that way. And so the front door was closed. I didn't intentionally close it. Like I said, we didn't live there, so it wasn't like we were there for any particular reason other than to get these clothes. And next thing I know, I hear my dad at the door, and everybody refers to me as Rose or Rosie. My family calls me Rosie. All my friends call me Rose. I don't know how that happened that way, but that's just how life has happened. But my dad, if I got in trouble, would call me Rosemary. And when that came out, I knew I was in trouble. So he came up to the door, and he says, Rosemary? And I can remember his voice clear as day.
Me too.
Are you in there? And I said, yes. And he says, are you alone? I said, no. And man, oh man, he kicked the door in so fast. It looked like the Matrix. You could see all the splinters going past the your face, and the door just like literally blew apart.
I don't remember any large pieces of the door.
I don't know where the door went, to be honest.
It vaporized.
All I know is he saw Francel and he just says, get out. And he said, yes, sir. And he goes to leave. And my dad...
I get up to walk. I'm walking out.
Mm-hmm. And my dad reaches into his bedroom door because his door was right across the hall from mine. And he picks up one of his shotguns and ratchets the shotgun.
All I heard, that's all the sound you ever need to hear to motivate you to run fast. Mm-hmm. And literally, I took off. I ran so fast. I hit the screen door. And all I seen was the 6-foot-tall privacy fence directly across the street. And I literally ran and dove head first over the fence and cleared it with ease.
Meanwhile, I'm calming my dad down. Like, why are you doing this? I don't live here. You don't have any authority over me. What is wrong with you? I get outside.
And I'm hiding
and I have no
house.
idea where he's at. I don't know where he's at.
Yeah, I disappeared.
Yeah, he's gone. I couldn't tell if he ran down the street because there was no cars, there was no people, there was nothing.
No sign of me anywhere.
The next thing I know, I hear this, I'm like, that cannot possibly be him.
I was not sticking my head out with her dad having a shotgun.
No, and then he says it again, or does it again, and I'm like, Francel, please come out. It is not that serious. Well, of course, it is that serious because my dad had a gun. And ultimately, I don't think my dad would have shot him.
Hey, I wasn't sticking around to find out. I'm literally evaluating my life choices. Yes, she's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Yes, I am very fond of her. But am I willing to risk my life? Like 2 weeks in.
Well, clearly not, because you called your dad. Come pick me up. This chick's dad is crazy.
But did he pick me up?
No.
He picked us up.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Both of us.
Yeah.
How did we get down there?
I don't remember.
I don't remember how we got there either. Like, we just showed up. I have no idea.
I feel like he didn't pick us up. I think we just left.
No, literally, I remember my dad picking us up.
But then how could we have gotten there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Where were we driving then? Jen would have had to have been the one to drop us off.
That Plymouth Acclaim.
We didn't have the Acclaim yet. Remember, we didn't have the Acclaim yet. 2 weeks in, we didn't have the Acclaim.
This wasn't 2 weeks in anymore.
3?
I don't remember.
We were still at Alfeda.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember all the details, but I just remember.
Oh, we remember the large portions of that story. Mm-hmm. Down in Merriman Valley. Holy cow. Mm-hmm. That was crazy. You're not gonna say nothing else. But it was worth it. I thank God that that situation happened, because like, you don't understand how you can invoke change into someone else's life just by being genuine to who you are. And the thing that was most profound to me is, even though that situation happened, 4 months later, before we got married, I still went and asked your dad for his permission to marry you. Mm-hmm. Even though he said no, I literally said, well, I just asked out of respect. I'm doing it anyway. And I ran away. Because I didn't know how he would respond to that. And once we got married and he seen that I was legitimately going to take care of you, I think that broke down a lot of stereotypes with him and like some of your other family members.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, I have a good relationship with like your side of the family.
Some of them.
Which ones don't I have a good relationship with?
Yeah, there's some.
Maybe I don't know them because I don't interact with them. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what it is. But I thought I was cool with, Debbie and Mike and all those guys and Johnny.
Yeah, there's just still family that.
You talking about like your Uncle Bud now? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't interact with Uncle Bud.
Well, neither do I.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, there's just been a lot of changes in our family, obviously because of the racism, and I don't know. And we've raised our boys differently now, and it has been a lot of a change for me too, because I didn't realize some of the things that I was taught that just really wasn't right.
Or true.
True.
Yeah. Well, this has been like episode 1. It's the beginning of our origin story. I think it's hilarious already. Just recapping it with you. Mm-hmm. Look, you can't even stop smiling because I know. Like just recapping that mentally. It's like we came from that. This is the beginning of our relationship, and looking back at it, it's absolutely hilarious because
we're only 2 months away from our married 2-year wedding anniversary, and so we're recapping life over the last 20 years.
Holy cow!
Huge milestone.
Huge milestone,
especially at our age.
Yeah, this is like the Chronicles of Us.
Oh boy.
Man.
We're not changing the name of the podcast.
I don't want to change the name of it. Well, until next time, guys, this has been Francel
and Rose.
The Parkers. We'll check you out later.